going to talk to you about a double-breasted jacket. There will be side details instead of the side seams, and the waist tucks will go down to the pockets. Most of the techniques are the same as for a simple breasted jacket. So I'll just show you how to make a pattern. When I make a course, you'll be able to sew such jackets without any problems. Let's have a look at the basic pattern first. First, I need to draw a new line for the armhole. I need to extend it by 5 mm in the shoulder and make it 15 mm deeper. The line from the shoulder seam down should be straight. Don't draw it with a ruler. Watch the way I'm drawing it. The line is round at the bottom. This is not the final variant. I'm going to move the parts of the openings here. I'll do it later. To make a double-breasted garment, you need to add about 6 or 8 centimeters for the placket to the center front. 6 centimeters is enough for light clothes. 7 centimeters is enough for small sizes and 8 centimeters for big sizes. Sometimes it's necessary to add 9 centimeters. I'm going to add 8 centimeters. This is the center front. Do not forget to sign it. As I've already said, I need to add 8 cm wide extension. Please be very attentive. The line I'm drawing now is the edge of the placket. The distance between the center front and the edge of the placket is 8 centimeters. Here it is. Next, I need to mark the position of the first button. In double-breasted jackets, it's better to make the first button 7 or 8 centimeters below the bust level. In this case, we'll be able to make a collar of a beautiful shape. Find the bust stop point and measure about 7 centimeters below it. This is where the first button is going to be attached. I'll also measure and mark 2 centimeters up from this point. Be very attentive, please. You can add 2 or 1.5 centimeters here. This is where the lapel should start. Before I start drawing a lapel, I need to decide where it should end on the shoulder. This is very important. I need to make the front neckline 1.5 centimeters wider and 1.5 centimeters deeper. I don't want the neckline to be too tight. I'll also make the back neckline 1.5 centimeters wider and 7 millimeters deeper. It would be okay. The extra pieces will be cut later. I've changed both the front and the back necklines. What should I do next? I need to measure and mark 2 centimeters here. This point should be connected with a point drawn on the placket. This is a lapel rope line. Be very attentive, please. Once again, define the location of the first button. It depends on the design. In my case, I've drawn it 7 centimeters below the bust top level. That doesn't mean that you have to make absolutely the same jacket. Have a look here. This is the front neckline. Next, I need to measure and mark 9.5 centimeters down from this point. This is the beginning of the shoulder. This line can be parallel to the center front, or it can be slightly biased. It's almost parallel in my case. It's 9.5 centimeters long. Next, I need to drop a perpendicular to the center front. Next, I need to measure and mark 1 or 1.5 centimeters here, down from the drawn line.
Строим воротник на определенной высоте, а вы один раз делаете, и в другой раз уже захотите какие-то другие цифры. Теперь очень хочу я, чтобы вы
Be very attentive now.
вот эти две линии.
I want you to understand what I'm doing now.
Мы получили вот этот угол от начала.
First, I measured and marked 9 centimeters down from the shoulder beginning. Then, I dropped a perpendicular to the center front and lowered it for 1 centimeter.
Точку 9,5. И получили
Next, I connected these 2 points with a line.
чего мы
We did it to find this point,
вот этого вот уголка
where the lapel crosses this line.
точка пересечения нашего
This is very important.
пригиба лацкана, вот она. А это пересечение
This is where it crosses the center front.
есть теперь перегиб лацкана. И вот здесь начинается творчество. Сейчас уже мы от линии
Be creative. You can draw a collar of any shape you want. I want to draw it according to this line.
по вот этой линии.
I've measured and marked 8.5 centimeters to the right from the lapel roll line.
И эту линию,
Next, I need to connect these 2 points.
перегиба лацкана.
I'll draw it with a pencil first.
Кто-то любит пользоваться такими саблями.
I recommend making this line slightly round.
Такую линию.
It shouldn't be absolutely straight.
Такую вот.
Just 3 mm difference would be enough.
А еще от этой
I can also raise the angle for about 2 centimeters.
сантиметра на 2.
It would also look good.
Теперь
I'll outline these details with a different marker pen. I want you to see how the collar is going to look like.
где мы уже готовы резать.
Don't tell me that I'm doing something wrong.
Так, ничего не может быть так.
If you can't find these techniques in books, is just because we created them ourselves.
Будем конструировать воротник.
Next, I need to draw the upper part of the collar.
Если вы смотрели,
I hope that everything is clear so far.
как у нас вот это
I hope that you understand how to make this part.
пацкан, кто-то
This is how the label is going to look like. You can make it of any shape you want.
Но я хочу донести до вас
This is a pretty complicated topic,
самое сложное и
but I believe that these lessons are useful.
что мне сейчас нужно.
Next, I need to outline the front neckline.
Переведу вот этот вот наш вырез. Раскеп абсолютно
Please note that the collar gorge and the lapel peak can be of any shape you want.
мог уйти. Вот эти две линии
Draw them however you want.
выше, обе ниже.
Use your imagination.
Очень широкий раскеп.
I just show you the techniques.
Показываю сейчас принцип.
Do not forget to sign the details. These details should be attached to the shoulder seam.
Вот это
These points should be attached to the shoulder seam.
с ключевым
I've outlined the front neckline.
воротник. Теперь вот эту
Next,
точку
I need to move these points for about 1 cm to the left.
Это по конструкции так положено. Точка к плечевому шву. И вот
I also need to make this line longer.
длину ростка у нас
Measure the length of the back neckline and add as much here.
будет 9 сантиметров.
I'll add 9 centimeters.
На круглый
This is the center back.
9.
When I cut the pattern, you'll understand what I'm doing now.
Потом еще когда откроем, она
I also need to draw a line here.
наклон.
This angle should be right. I need to drop a perpendicular here, measure and mark 8 centimeters on it, and connect these points. This line should be slightly round. It should be smooth.
Давайте
I'll make these lines slightly round as well,
сделаем вогнутой.
for about 5 millimeters.
Вы просто
Watch what I'm doing. Be very attentive.
центр спины.
This is the center back.
Сейчас это
The collar isn't ready yet.
длинный воротник. В районе
The upper part of the collar shouldn't be wide on the shoulder.
потому
It wouldn't look good in this case.
лежать на плече. И потом
Of course, you can modify the collar after the fitting.
это все можно
Don't worry about that.
видоизменять. От центра спины
Next, I need to make 3 cuts here.
этот воротничок вот так раза 3.
Make the first one a bit down from the center back.
Почему в наше время вот так раздвигают воротники? Потому что наши
It's
современные
necessary because modern fabrics are hard to fit.
шарикам и так далее. Потом нам
I'll make each opening about 3 mm wide.
не оттягивать.
Next, I'll outline this pattern to a new piece of tracing paper.
И сейчас
And then I'll attach it to the front.
бумажку и сверим с нашей полочкой. Видите,
Have a look at the rounded form of the upper collar.
в открытие.
Do not forget that the center back should be cut on the lengthwise grain.
Он немножечко изгибается.
It's very important to learn to stitch these parts accurately.
Вот этот угол. Пожалуйста, полюбите. Без него
Don't make round necklines. It's not professional.
Круглый вырез сшит. Это не жакет, это так, пародия.
Do not forget to mark the checkpoint. This is where the collar should be attached to the shoulder seam. Have a look at the pattern.
Что получилось? Видите, что получилось? Ох, какую сложную тему мы
This topic is very complicated.
Надеюсь, у вас хватит
I
терпения,
hope you'll be patient
потому что
because I want you to improve your sewing skills.
извините меня, надо уметь.
It's not easy to sew a jacket.
Деться некуда, просто некуда. Это я просто вот как вам сейчас хочу для образа.
I'll attach this piece of the pattern here just for you to see everything clearly.
По линии перегиба лацкана мы перегибаем. Наш
This is how the collar is going to look like.
И у нас
This part will be attached to the back. Of course, you can make these details of any shape you want. Wider, tighter,
кто-то захочет
longer.
такой формы раскеп.
Think of the way you want your collar to look like
И уже
and try drawing on a pattern.
мы с вами прошли, ну, достаточно
It's not as hard as you think. Use your imagination.
лацкан. Для начала
Next, we need to make side details instead of the side seams. I remind you that the side details should always be drawn within the width of the armhole. Don't ever make them wider.
большие размеры у нас тут
For the big sizes, it's even bigger if the side details are tighter than the armholes.
и вот так вот немножко не доходит.
Watch the way I'm drawing them.
Да, это можно
I'll move this line a bit.
чуть-чуть сюда.
These lines should be slightly round at the top.
Так вот, видите, и эта
Be very attentive, please.
линейку, а мы ее чуть-чуть на миллиметров 7-8 вот так вот сгибаем. Верх бачка у нас уже есть. Теперь смотрите,
What about the waist tags?
вот
The one on the front should be reduced to 1 centimeter.
сокращается
I've moved the part of the opening to the center back.
метра.
I'll cut it.
Здесь, видите, приталивание. И
The jackets shouldn't be too tight.
я немножко срезаю. Сейчас поговорим.
This is why the other tags should be reduced to 2 centimeters.
Ясно, что такого фасона жакет не бывает приталенный вот прямо вот до одного.
I need to distribute the opening of this tag to the side detail.
Остается. Вот эти две выпуски
Anyway, the
полностью.
jacket is not going to be loose.
Делаем их
It's
сантиметров
still going to be fitted.
здесь два и здесь два.
If your hips are full, you need to extend the pattern to the bottom.
Чуть-чуть, не сильно.
I've already shown you how to do it.
Линия. Пиджачок
There is no need for me to do it now.
у кого вот здесь расширение по бедрам, вы его разделите.
In my case, the pattern should actually be made a bit tighter at the hips.
Немножко. Мы на грамотном
This is why I'm drawing the lines this way.
У меня здесь расширения такого нету, у меня здесь заужение, поэтому чуть-чуть здесь я как бы не дохожу до этих линий.
I need to do the same thing here.
Вот наш бачок.
This is how the side detail looks like now.
Вот он бачок наш посередине.
I've made the side detail instead of the side seam. Next, I need to cut the pattern.
Мы можем полностью
After that, I'll continue working with the front.
продолжать работать с полочкой. крайнем бочке
Even if you forget to sign the side detail, you'll define the front
остался не подписан,
because it's always a bit shorter than the back.
это к полочке.
Be very careful and attentive.
Рассчитываем. Росток,
The back neckline, the shoulder dart, I'm not going to change the shoulder dart now. I'll think what to do with it later. This is the back.
спинка,
I need to sign the center back. This is the side detail.
и сейчас
Next, I need to cut the front. Let's have a look at the sketch.
смотрите, у нас
Here are the welt pockets here.
или это
You
могла
can make
быть
flap
одна
pockets
выточка, это могла
or
быть
any
одна
pockets you
выточка,
like.
неважно, совершенно любой карман,
It
который
doesn't really matter.
любой к одной из
Let's have a look at the tucks.
Но у нас выточка, видите, как выходит?
It goes up from the pocket,
А кармашек
and the pocket overlaps the dart.
выходит за выточку. Но
I'll show you how to do it.
на самом деле
I've actually already shown you how to make such tucks
сюда в этот подрез.
when I was making a classic jacket. Watch the videos if you haven't done it yet.
Варианты, об этом я хочу
What about the location of the pockets?
Ну, всегда было
According to the rule, the pocket opening should be located 5 centimeters below the waistline.
сейчас правил никаких.
Nowadays, the pockets can be made on the waistline or even above it.
Вообще где угодно.
But I prefer to follow the rules.
Второе правило, и сейчас я
I'll draw a pocket opening.
карман на 5 сантиметров ниже линии талии. Вот
This is the pocket opening.
Ну,
It goes from this
немножко
seam
на шов, и карман
and to the tuck.
как бы от шва. Видим, как бы от шва наш.
The pocket opening shouldn't be wider than 14.5 centimeters.
Ну, к примеру,
This is the end of the pocket.
14,5 сантиметров. Вот 14,5. Вот этот отрезок. Мы поняли, где у нас будет начало кармана. Теперь смотрите. Вот наша
Have a look at the chest dart. You can move it for 1 centimeter.
Есть
The both lines.
выточку, всю выточку. Вот
This is how the dart is going to look like in this
вот
case.
эту на 1 сантиметр сместить. Первая
I'm not going to do it.
вот так сместится, вторая вот так. То есть наша выточка сдвинется сюда на сантиметрик. Для того, чтобы вот эту точку на сантиметр сдвинуть.
I think that the most useful technique is making a bias dart.
Будем делать. Самое
It will go from the pocket
в этом
to the bust
варианте,
top.
когда у нас вот эта точка
I'll start drawing it not from the end of the pocket, but 1 centimeter further. Watch the way I'm drawing it.
а это часто бывает при большой груди, при больших объемах и так далее. Мы
Be very attentive.
выточку.
I've started drawing a line not from the pocket end,
Вот
but 1 centimeter further.
меняем с вершиной выточки.
That's it.
То есть в
I have a full bust. That's why this line is not plain as the one in the sketch, but slightly biased.
будет смотреться на эскизе ровная, а она у нас будет вот как бы выходить из кармана.
Let me show you one more technique.
Смотрите, еще один вариант вам
In case there's a side seam here, not a side detail,
рассказать. Мог бы быть
you can make a princess seam and draw the pocket
и вот бы закончился наш бачок.
from this
Здесь
seam.
сделали какой-то
In this case, the pocket will be placed closer to the center front,
тогда бы у нас
and it will end strictly under the bust apex.
ближе сюда куда-то, и мы бы от нее
You'll move the opening of the chest dart to this point and get a plain line, like the one in the sketch.
решение
It all depends on your size and the design.
вот
There is no universal techniques.
удобно, когда у меня вот,
In my case, making a bias dart was the best way.
ну, конечно, может быть, у меня
Even if I make 15 cm wide opening, the line will be still bias.
сильно спасает ситуацию.
If you are of a smaller size, this line will be straight.
Слегка наклонена, но наклонена. Это то, как мы делаем обычно в жизни. У кого
Have a close look here.
меньше объема, чем
I'm not going to make this waist
в
tuck.
этом месте, у вас, естественно,
This is the chest dart,
отсюда выточка.
and I need to move a part of the opening of the waist tuck to it,
Лево игнорируется. Вот наше пересечение.
just about 1 cm.
Мы можем здесь приталить
This is how the dart looks like now.
совсем до 1 сантиметра. Нарисовала талиевую выточку.
Next, I need to move a part of the opening to the armhole.
К вершине груди.
I'm doing it to ease the armhole
Для того, чтобы сделать,
and to make it more jacket-like.
может быть, у нас будет
It should be a bit more loose.
она будет высота. Вы специально на высоту
Watch what I'm doing.
вы вот здесь прибавили. У нас немножко уменьшилось.
By doing so, I've also reduced the opening of the chest dart a
По
bit.
карману надрезаю.
I need to cut the pocket opening next.
Приталить, как вот здесь.
Don't make a big waist tuck here,
Вот это весь объем вот тут должен.
otherwise you won't be able to make this part fit you well.
Не сутюжите это место.
The tuck shouldn't be more than 1 cm wide.
Но вот
This is a must.
символически. Что осталось на груди?
Let's have a look here once again.
За счет
I've made the opening of the chest dart a bit smaller
раскрываем.
by making the armhole more loose.
Она у нас ушла в карман.
Next, I need to close this opening
Сейчас расскажу, как
and move it to the pocket opening.
при таком варианте.
Let's have a look at the result.
Когда вы будете кроить ткань? В выточке вы будете
When cutting the fabric, add 1 cm seam allowance to the dart legs.
сантиметр. Вдоль вот этого
But what about the dart top?
плюс 1. Вдоль вот этого шва плюс 1.
You should stop taking it about 3 or 4 centimeters below the bust top.
3-4 сантиметра. Вы шьете
Do not even cut this part.
здесь вот.
It might happen that you will have to change the bust top a bit after fitting.
Почему? Потому что вдруг во время примерки окажется
You won't be able to do it if you cut the bust top.
короче. А у вас
This is why you need to stop cutting about 3 or 4 centimeters down from the dart top.
недорезать
You'll be able to cut the extra piece later.
потом, вы в процессе работы сможете все это вырезать.
Don't add anything to the pocket opening.
Прибавляете вот здесь. Вот
Just pin and tack the pocket this way for the fitting. I'll even cite it here that I shouldn't add anything for the seam allowance.
вот так вот встык будете
To the both sides. This is very important.
край сметывать. Вот здесь вот.
Add a regular seam allowance to all the other details.
И здесь не прибавляете.
1 centimeter to the dart legs.
А остальные
Nothing here.
боковые швы и всё
The front is ready.
вы будете прибавлять. Плюс 1.
It seemed like the dart was very biased, but it's actually not.
Ничего не
You can see it now.
Мы с вами построили выточку.
Oh, the last thing I need to do is to move a part of the opening of the shoulder dart to the armhole.
Вырезали ничего такого
About 5 millimeters.
наклона. Осталось нам что? Заднюю выточку
I want to show you how the pattern looks like now.
тоже раскрыть в пройму. Это
I want you to be able to sew amazing high quality garments. Have a look at the pattern.
5 вот
It took us 2 video lessons to make this pattern,
получилось.
and to learn how to make patterns for such beautiful jackets.
Просто я за...
I think that now you are ready to make a classic women's double-breasted jacket.
Смотри,
As I've already said, I'm going to make a video course on how to make such jackets,
превратилась
and in the course I'll show you everything in detail.
и представьте, сколько
Be different and beautiful. My name is Paukshte Irina. Buy my courses, subscribe to my channel, write comments, share the videos, press the like and the bell buttons. I would really appreciate your support. Thank you. Goodbye.
наш канал.